Bo Nix, Sean Payton, and the Broncos coming to the bank to take on the Baltimore Ravens, 2 5-3 teams. Nick,
Yeah.
how goes this Sunday?
This is a tricky game because it's a game where we're 9-point favorites at home, going against a rookie quarterback. Usually in years past, that type of recipe would be a recipe in which we believe the game should go our favor and we should have a win in handy fashion. But in this case, not so fast. I mean, the Broncos are a pretty good team for a team that, under Sean Payton has been a little bit underwhelming. The Russell Wilson years kind of wasn't what he envisioned, but towards the end of last season, you saw them coming together as a team. And then this year, Sean has his full imprint on the team. He drafted a 35-year-old rookie quarterback, and that rookie quarterback, his development is it doesn't have to. He's not starting from all the way at the bottom as far as his development. He's a mature kid, physically mature, mentally mature. It's been through a lot in college. Every scenario you can imagine in college, Bo Nix has been through it. So he's been able to get better as the weeks go on. And he's been playing surprising football, I must say, albeit against some bad defenses, some bad teams. But at one point, Denver was looked at as one of those bad teams. They've played their way into respect. Same record as us. I can't even call it a trap game because this is a game that we literally could lose. I mean, they have the number 3 ranked defense. Again, Bo Nix is playing well. They're running the ball. Their offense isn't scary, so to speak, but they make timely plays. And with their defense has put them in advantageous opportunities to score. Bo Nix is able to use his legs a lot, especially more recently. So we're going to have to contend for that. One thing that is in our favor, Lamar Jackson has an 800 win percentage following a loss. He doesn't usually lose back-to-back games. If he were to lose this week, that would be the first time in his career he's lost back-to-back games in a season. So I expect Lamar after a loss to do all the things that Lamar does in wins or in losses, which is dominate and be him and play a good football game. The concern isn't on offense, man. Obviously, the concern is with the defense, as it has been every game this season. Will Bo Nix and the Broncos be able to capitalize? That remains to be seen. Usually, with rookie quarterbacks, we know how to shut them down, give them some looks that they're not used to seeing. Even with Jaden Daniels, I think we did a good job containing that offense compared to what he does to other teams. We did a good job kind of containing them and forcing them into field goals. And even in that scenario, they still scored too many points. So I think Denver is capable, but we have to be very, very mindful that this is a tough game. And then in 4 days, we have to play Cincinnati, right? This could go 5-5 really easily if we don't approach the game with the proper mind state and show some consistency on defense. And offense, again, I'm not worried about offense. We brought in Diontae Johnson. We can talk about that like more specifically, but we're gonna ease him in. Obviously, he probably doesn't know the playbook yet. The Batemans of the world are happy right now. Like, please don't learn that playbook, sir. Please don't learn that playbook. Because I saw him running routes in practice, and goddamn, it looks different. It looks a little different. Now, Sko, I hear you. All right. I used to talk about the hands. What you want me to say? I ain't gonna say he AB, baby. I ain't gonna say that.
That route,
but I understand what you're talking about. It's sweet feet over there. It's sweet feet, and it's different. Like you saw him compared to Diontae Walker compared to Bateman. It ain't no comparison, sir. So he's going to get acclimated. I'm curious to see what his role is going to be. First game as a Raven, contract year. So he's going to be hungry. He's not going to try to cause an issue. But I don't think he would be a malcontent here. Not in this situation, so to speak. So we'll see. I mean, Ravens just got to bring their A game. Denver has nothing to lose. They believe in themselves. Nobody really picked them to be 5-3. So they're playing with house money, and that's a dangerous thing to allow a team to do. So got to just do what's necessary and come out with a win.
All right. Yep. Let's get ready for those keys.
Hit me on a slant. Give me keys to the inside. They took the keys. We don't have any keys.
Now give me the keys. Yeah, man, we broke down that Browns, whatever that was, whatever you want to call that Monday. Like Nick said, you can't really, and you hit on a good point. You can't really call it a trap game because it's not. You should be very much woke. They 5-3. You know, it's going to come down to. We already know what the Ravens are defensively. Like, Nick point was go in all in on offense. Because defense is going to be trash or whatever. Like, it was like I was 50, but now it's like, all right, I get it. I see the vision there. You have to, because you're not going to be able to stop anybody. Like, it's getting real. If you're letting Jameis Winston go for 344 and 3 touchdowns, you're not stopping anybody. He ain't played football in 2 years. You literally not stopping anybody. And you got, like I said, when the playoffs come, and you got the likes of Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes or Russell Wilson there, like that. What you think is going to happen? What you think is going to happen? Like, what you really think is going to happen? So this game really come down to, just the Ravens scoring. Like you said, number 3 ranked defense league the Broncos have. It's going to be tough. They got players over there. They got one of the best cornerbacks in the league. So it's definitely going to be tough. Sean Payton, he Keith said, what you think Sean Payton doing looking at that defense on tape? He eating Thanksgiving dinner. He enjoying himself right now. So it's going to be tough. Orr came out and said this week we got a plan in place for the communication. I mean, I don't know why that plan wasn't in place 6 weeks ago, or I don't know why that plan wasn't in place 6 weeks ago, or why is it now coming to fruition in week 9 that now we got a place to get everybody aligned, get a plan in place. I got to get the play calls in soon. Like, I feel like, man, that's what I'm saying. Like, this guy, I don't advocate for people losing job, but this guy got it. You got to take the play call.
Real quick, Keith.
Yo.
Getting the plays in sooner for a defense where you literally are probably just calling cover 3, cover 2. Like, an offensive play call is way longer to get to than a defensive.
He just don't know what he's doing. What are you doing? Yeah, just don't know what he's doing. Like, you calling, like you say, you calling a cover 2 when you should be calling a different defense about the person they got on the field. So now you see the personality fit. Now you at the last minute you're trying to change the play, and that's what's happening. And that's why he said we just want to keep it simple. So basically, we're going to see Sunday, and I think we're going to see going forward. The Ravens going to play a lot of base defense. They're going to play a lot of simple defense, and then they're going to try to let their playmakers make plays, which they should have been doing. Right now, I think the defense they were trying to run was too schemed. It was way too schemed. People was getting out of place. You on mute, and now have the
thought he was Mike.
Yeah, they don't have the personnel to play that type of scheme. Like, when you got Eddie Jackson, you shouldn't be playing whatever type of defense you're playing. If Eddie Jackson is going to be a last line defense, that can't be. Like, you might as well hand over your whole country if Eddie Jackson will be a last line defense. Like, you feel me? Like, give it up. Like, it ain't no because it's bad. I mean, we talked about it on Monday. We talked about it on Monday. Like, Eddie Jackson, that was bad. Eddie Jackson was bad. Eddie Jackson
that was good.
Eddie Jackson was bad, dog. Eddie Jackson was bad. He was really bad. Like, really bad. Like, you feel me? Like, Sco, you come to the gate, you see Eddie Jackson right there. You're like, oh, like, whatever. We walking there. We walking exactly. We walking in. So, yeah, man, it's gonna come down to, like, we already. I mean, I think. I mean, we getting help. We'll have Nate. We should have Nate back this week. We should have Ballin back this week. So, give a defense. The littlest bad they're gonna get is they were not healthy at all last week in that secondary. So that's the only little bell I'm giving. But it's not a lot, because even with Nate and Marlon there, besides the Bucks game, that shit was still happening. It was, the communication breakdowns was still there. It was still happening. So like I said, this game come down to outscoring them. And like you said, yeah, the Ravens defense will give a lot, but it's both Knicks and them mature enough to take advantage of the opportunities it's going to have. If the Ravens happen to get a turnover short field, or the offense, the defense are giving them short fields, on 3 and outs, not letting them drive the whole field, it's both Knicks and them going to be to take advantage. Because Cortland Sutton is better than Cedric Tillman. He's better than Jerry Jeudy. So what do you do? Like, or do you do you put Brandon Stevens? So it's like, it's like you said, it's a tough game. You cannot overlook them, whatever. 9.5 points to the Ravens. That's a lot of points in both teams to be 5. That's a whole lot of points. The way the Ravens looked against the Browns and the way the Broncos are playing. So I don't know what Vegas is doing. They trying to play mind games with us, but that's a lot of points. Is it a game I think the Ravens should win and could win? Yes, but I'm up in the air. I mean, I'm gonna pick the Ravens, of course, because I do think they better than the Broncos, but I thought they was better than the Browns. I thought they was better than the Raiders. So it's hard to it's hard to gouge and judge his team right now. I want to see the changes that Orr said. So that's what I'm looking forward to. I know what the offense is, and the offense only got 10 times better by adding Diontae Johnson. I'm not worried about that side of the ball. Once he get acclimated, they said they got to learn him in a while right now. Once he get acclimated, he's going to be the number 1, number 2 receiver. We all know that. He's that talented. Now, can he hold on to the ball? Who the hell knows? We'll find that out eventually. But he's going to be one of Lamar's top target. Like, he's going to take over that Bateman role. I hope so anyway. So what I'm looking forward to, what I'm looking at this game is just what type of adjustments defense to make, and see if Marlon being out made that much of a difference. And I'm also looking forward is Marcus Williams back in the South line this week. You know, they said he handled like a player. He handled the bench like a pro. Didn't cause no confusion. You know, he was there. He was still, team oriented. But he has to play over. I don't care how bad Marcus Williams is. He has to play over Eddie Jackson. Eddie Jackson is washed. Like he's completely done. Yeah. So this is what the game comes down to. My key to the matchup is Zach Orr. That's what my eyes on the whole Sunday. Zach Orr, the adjustments you're making. What are you doing on defense? What checks are you making? Are your players out of line? Are your players lined up? Are you getting the calls in on time? So that's what this game going to come down to for me. Is really, what is Zach Orr going to do, man? I know what the Ravens are. Regardless of how good the Broncos defense, I can still see the Ravens scoring 24 points or more. It's hard to stop them every single possession for 4 quarters every Sunday. It's hard. It's going to be hard. It's too many weapons, too many things to do. So what's Zach Orr going to do? What the defense going to do? Are they going to bounce back? Like, are they going to just, piss away the season? What are they going to do? So that's what it comes down to. And like I said, it's just a shame that they talking about, we know the right adjustments to make after week 9. Like, come on, man. What was off season for? What was the Raiders comeback for? Like, what you doing here? So we'll see. And John Hall, please stay out the way. If you hear a 4th and 1, goddamn,
Wildcat,
a 4th and 1 Wildcat, please redirect that.
4th and 1 Choli Cola on the center.
3rd one, and you hearing Choli Cola come in center, please, yeah. Like,
why did you do that, Charlie? Like, that was crazy to me. I was looking at that replay, like, get him out the game.
So I think the Ravens are, they got the players to do it. I think this team is lacking coaching and lacking leadership, and lacking a clear vision, really, about what you want to be defensively. Do you want to attack the quarterback? Do you want to play back? They get too confused. They get too caught up in, trying to be that old Ravens defense and blitzing, and you don't have the blitzes no more. You don't have that. So now you ended up with Saquon Tillman 1-on-1 with Eddie Jackson. That's not the type of defense you want to play.
Yeah.
All right, Keith, how you see the Sunday going?
Couldn't agree more with what they said. That 9.5 point line might have something to do with Ravens being 19-2 against rookie quarterbacks in M&T since 2008. But for me, the word of the week this week is desperate. Like, the Ravens have to have a sense of desperateness this week, especially given the way the bunny that they gave away last week in Cleveland. With the 2 games in 5 days, one of them being Joe Burrows and Jamar Chase coming in here on a Thursday short week. We remember that game on Sunday. It was a shootout. We had to walk them down essentially. So tomorrow's game essentially is a must win, especially with Pittsburgh looming in 14 days. So the Ravens got to come out and play desperate. And that's, to me, the offense has produced, and the defense has to play desperate. The defense has to be accountable. They have to force turnovers. You're talking about a defense entering week 9 with the last ranked pass defense in the NFL, 25th ranked defense overall. When did we heard the Ravens in the bottom 6 of the league, a defense, bottom 7?
Halfway into a season.
Yeah. Maybe the first week or 2, they trying to figure things out, iron it out. But normally they got it figured out by October. We in November now, and they still don't have it figured out. So that's the foundational issue. That goes back to Zach Orr. Everybody know I've been on Zach Orr since week 1. I saw it against the Chiefs. When Malik Harrison was out in space, I saw it then. This is a problem. This is a problem. So it's compounded week by week now. And then when you add in injuries, it becomes an even bigger issue, because now you go into Cleveland last week without your top 2 corners, or 2 of your top 3 corners, and Nate Wiggins and Marlon Humphreys. So like they said, Cortland Sutton he's a higher grade than those wide receivers we faced last week coming in here tomorrow. Now Denver, this is a game we probably wrote as a W in the beginning of the season. Honestly, you looked at your schedule, you said, "Oh, we got the Commanders, the Browns, the Broncos. Oh, we about to run these off." They're a good team now. Why? Because they're well coached. Sean Payton is they're a well coached team. I talked about it to Keys throughout the week, just talking. He should be licking his chops looking at Zach or a rookie defensive coordinator. I'm licking my chops looking at Dean Pease too, because the defense hasn't improved in the 2 weeks he's been here. The numbers have just ticked up. So if I'm Sean Payton, I'm looking at this as an opportunity to look. Everybody say we ain't beat nobody all season. This is a chance for us to go on the road, hostile environment. We both 5-3. So essentially now this game's got wild card implications for playoff tiebreakers at the end of the season. So, like I said, the Ravens got to be desperate. Come out, run the ball, establish yourself. Like I said, I really have no fears about the offense at this point. The offense is capable of going out there putting up 20 to 25 points a game. Can this defense get stops? Can we play complementary football? Can the special teams not fair catch inside the 5? Like, that's the type of thing we have to put ourselves in the position to win. And do I think we the better team than the Broncos? Yes, I definitely do. No question. But what version of the Ravens are we going to get tomorrow? Especially with Cincinnati looming in 5 days. Like, this is our season, these next 3 games. This is the season right here. Because like Nick alluded to, you can't be 5-5 going into Pittsburgh the way y'all look respectfully. You just can't. You really don't even want to go in there at 6-4. You want to be going in there at 7-3. So these are 2 big games, and then you get a chance to rest. So you gotta, like I said, you gotta be desperate.
Yeah, you guys brought up great points about Zach Orr, and made me think. It's like, not only is it on coaching, but when you're paying a linebacker $100 million,
Him too.
you know, the leadership aspect, making sure that you know what each position is supposed to do and making sure those guys are lined up where they're supposed to be. Because the way I look at it is, this is Zach Orr's first time calling plays. So, you know, being that he was so quote unquote a protege of Mike McDonald and was supposed to kind of carry on the same philosophies and like the same ideas, and be kind of like a bridge. It's kind of hard to put that on him 100% when he wasn't on the field with the players last year. He's never called plays in his coaching career. I mean, he's a young guy. He hasn't been a coach for so long. And to your point, he might not be ready, but in order to help him get ready, I think the players got to take it upon themselves to make sure that their other teammates, you know, as far as an individual, I got to make sure I know where I'm supposed to be. And if I'm a leader, I got to make sure I know where my guys are supposed to be. And I think when you pay somebody $100 million, that's not asking a lot. You know, we gotta get this thing together, because we're out here. We are trying to do exotic blitzes and pre-snap looks and confuse teams, but again, you haven't called plays in your entire career, so it don't look the same as somebody who kind of, you know, was a mad scientist with disguises and coverages and being able to send pressure from all different types of directions that you don't expect. You know, you got to work yourself into that. And if you're not an experienced play caller, that gives me some worry. And then the second part of that is not having a dominant pass rusher. You know, you have to rely on schemed pass rush, which is something that we've had to rely on for a while now, but we had more experienced play callers in those situations. Right now, we are 5th in the league in sacks at 24, but we're 8th lowest in pressure rate at 29.7%. All that tells me is that for the sacks that we do get, it's come because we've confused teams, or it's because we've schemed pressure. We've sent a cornerback, we've sent a block blitzer. You know what I mean? That's why you can see Owe have a flash performance one game, and then you don't see him for the next 2 or 3. You know what I mean? That's why Kyle Benoit can have all those sacks in the first few games, and we haven't seen him since. You know what I mean? We have to get somebody that's going to be consistently providing that pressure, because you see it with other teams. Other teams can send 4 blitzers, 4 rushers, and drop everybody back in coverage, and that one rusher on that line is causing havoc, whether it's Nick Bosa or T.J. Watt or Dexter Lawrence, so on and so forth. There's people out here that, you know, you can send 4 and get home. And this year also, you know, in the secondary, all these things, you know, are complementary football. If we're not getting pressure, nobody's getting home. We're asking these guys to to cover on our island most times, and the safeties aren't really helping. Sometimes Kyle has to drop down to assist, guarding the seam and guarding tight ends, or defend the threat of the runs. Kyle can't be everywhere on a play. You know what I mean? If Kyle's on this side, guess what? They're going to probably throw to this side. It's equal opportunity with Brandon Stevens and Millette, Eddie Jackson, Armour Davis. I mean, it's not something where they're avoiding anybody out here. It's equal opportunity for that. This year or last year we gave up the fewest yards per pass. This year, much different story. Almost 2.3 more yards per pass, and we rank sixth most in the league. So teams are getting chunk plays on us now. We used to limit to smaller plays. Now they're getting chunk gains on us. That's problematic, and these are prolonged 8 game trends. This is something that if we're going to just do simpler play calling, it's going to have to rely on people winning matchups, because now we're not going to be scheming the pressure. Now we're going to be asking the people who are supposed to win. Can Owe win? Can Van Noy win? Can Matabuki win? Can Ojabo get a jersey on game day? Because we picked him over George Pickens, and I'm seeing George Pickens do amazing touchdown catches that they should have gave him, but they're robbing him of stuff. I'm seeing that prime time.
Gotta change that. Get rid of that thing, rule. That's a stupid ass rule.
Yeah, rule.
It changed Thursday
because he changed.
No, the shin is which
it was the same leg.
Yeah, but the shin is 2
feet.
It
don't matter. The shin is 2 feet.
It's 2 feet.
But back to what Nick was.
Oh yeah, back.
Back to what Nick was saying though about the chunk plays. Baltimore, actually, we give up the most 20+ yard plays on offense. I mean on defense. I'm sorry. So that just goes to prove his point.
They let the Noah Wilson get out the door. That's the key. Yeah. They let him get out the door. He's a secondary coach. They shouldn't have. I think they made him at preliminary. Right, that's not even preliminary. Right now, they made a mistake. I feel like they made a mistake.
We have to put that on. We got to put that on Jonathan.
Yeah, I feel like you let your defensive coordinator get out the door, and like I said, it's not a lot of bail you can get this defense. The only bail that you give them is you lost your defensive coordinator, you lost your D-line coach who became a defensive coordinator, and you lost secondary coach who became the defensive coordinator. So it is a lot of turnover, but at the same time, you got $100 million guy there. You got somebody who was supposed to be the protege who should have been in the building learning. So it's time to step up. It's time to, like you say, stop coaching out of another man playbook. You got to do something here to
work for you.
Just switch this around and figure out what work for you. And if you're going to make the defense simple, if you're going to rely on one-on-one matchups, then you got to go get a guy. You got to go get some help, because another great point Keith made was we seen Van Noy a lot early in the season, but we don't see him now because he's tired. The rotation is not. I mean, he got to come in every passing down or every situation because
he be the guy.
Yeah, Ojabo not can't do it. Yannick is probably still learning the system. Owe is who Owe is. So it's now you got Van Noy who's 35 or whatever in his whatever season trying to be the guy, and he's not the guy. You're going to run him into the ground, which we've seen he hasn't been present because he's tired. He's playing too many plays. And that's why last year he had him and Clowney was rotating. They was both fresh the whole year. So you got to get somebody if you're going to. I think you got to get a defensive end, somebody cheap, a veteran that you maybe Clowney, whoever, but you got to get somebody to take the pressure off Van Noy. So just to keep him fresh late in the game. Yeah, just to keep him fresh late in the game, because at this point in his career, we know he's not a dominant man. But I think the Ravens did a disservice by letting the Noah Wilson get out the door.
Keys,
go ahead.
No, real quick, Keith, because he made a good point, and I looked it up. I was going to say, like, to add to your point, John Harbaugh, his job as CEO, being that he's not a play caller on offense or a play caller on defense, and damn sure clearly he's not providing things with special teams. So I'm expecting him to be a CEO of a team and manage the positions on the team, right? So if he's the top manager, he has to hire his subordinates and make sure that the people he's putting in place are good. Zach Orr seems like he was earmarked for the defensive coordinator position with no coaching experience. Feel good story, but is it the best story for the Ravens? Compared to who Keys mentioned, Denard Wilson, he arrived 42 years old, Coming into Tennessee, he had 12 years of coaching. Last year, obviously, was the defensive back coach for the Ravens, and he had so many accolades from last year's defensive unit. But before he joined the Ravens, he was 2 years with the Eagles, where he was defensive passing game coordinator and defensive back coach. And prior to that, he had plenty of other experience with the New York Jets as a defensive back coach, passing game coordinator. Prior to that as well, more history with the Jets. And then he had some initial coaching experience with St. Louis and Los Angeles under Jeff Fisher. So he's dating back to, and then he was a defensive quality control coach. So all those defensive roles he got to see, not only from a secondary perspective, but he was a pass game coordinator. So he got to kind of see it from both sides, and then also kind of incorporate his influences and his beliefs and principles from being able to see both perspectives, whether it's offense or defense. So obviously a much more experienced, qualified, ready coach. That doesn't mean Zach Ward doesn't get an opportunity in the future. He's 32 years old. We didn't have to rush that one, right? Like we could have waited till he was 36, 37.
Yeah, if he's the coach that you want and wait, if you think he's the future, keep him on the staff. Like, just make him one of the highest paid assistants. But you letting talent and experience get out the door, and you see the product on the field.
And to me, it always go back to John, like y'all talk about. Like, John wants a certain level of coach around him that won't dim his light, that won't challenge him. Like, that's why I say you never hear the hot name coordinator even being associated with Baltimore, because it's a somebody else might be eating them chocolate chip cookies with the DeCostas.
Right. Craziness. No, this defense is a mess. This shit is a mess. Though.
I could just picture John peeking over the fence, like, who over there?
Speaking of DeCosta, y'all brought up Diontae Johnson. I'm very familiar with him. Y'all did make a trade from him to get him away from Carolina. What were your first initial thoughts when that news broke after the Sun game?
Oh, I was elated. I mean, like I said, we all know what my thoughts on Diontae. He fumbles, can't catch the ball or whatever. And a lot of that can stand for me hating on him, but I've seen it. It was there. But he makes the team better. He makes that room better. I think out of the wide receivers that get traded, I mean, Devontae Adams is older now. He really can't do what he used to do. Amari Cooper is definitely older. He's injury prone. So I think Diontae Johnson was one of the, if not the best on the market, right there. I think it's a good fit. Like Nick said, he runs route Chris. So I think it makes it a better team. At this point, I was very happy because we just seen what the hell Bateman did, the Sun God. So you're right. So you're gonna go get Diontae Johnson. That's an upgrade. And then what you get him for, I think that's the most important part of this trade is you only trade a fifth, and you get you trade a fifth, you get a sixth back, and if you go sign somewhere else, you're gonna get a compensation pick. So that's good business, DeCosta. But at the same time, you can't be with a deadline Wednesday. You can't be happy here. You got to go do more to improve your team. Like you said, go get a guard. If you're gonna do this and go all in the offense, you go get a guard and show up the offensive line or whatever, and deal with whatever your defense is going to be at this point. But I'm very happy about it because it makes the team better. If I know that on 3rd and 6 he throwing to Diontae Johnson instead of Bateman or Aguilar, that makes me happy.
My initial thoughts was, dang, another short receiver, but that quickly subsided because then you kind of know who Diontae Johnson was. He's somebody that can run routes, get open. His biggest problem wasn't getting open and being available for his quarterback. His biggest problem back in the day used to be finishing plays. That's less of a problem now. Over the last few years, that hasn't been associated with his name. It's been more so, on-field type of antics. Kenny Pickett will make you crash out. Carolina, the losing environment down there, that'll make you just say, what, can you trade me? Like, I'm in my contract here. I don't feel like dealing with this shit for the rest of the season. Can y'all just trade me, please? And for Carolina's and to Carolina's credit, they could have traded him to a bad situation. But they probably fell for him. They was like, you know what? You're right. Like, we suck, right? Let us do right by you. We'll trade you to the Ravens. We'll take back nothing in return. and we'll pay the Ravens. We'll pay you to allow the Ravens to have you. Like the Ravens only have to pay $625,000 for Johnson for the rest of the season. That is a steal. We got him for a pack of hot dogs and some baked beans. Like we literally got him for nothing. And I love it. Like that's what made me like the trade more. I was like, oh, we're gonna get him for free. And you mean to tell me he's stepping in? If we got into training camp with Diontae Johnson and we were having training competitions, would we be talking about Diontae Johnson taking Nelson Aguilar's reps, or would we be talking about, hey, him and Zay are going to have to compete for wide receiver one? That's how I look at it. Like you have two guys, in my opinion, that are fringe wide receiver ones. On some teams, they are the top option. On other teams, they're best as the top second option. Right. So they're both fringe wide receiver ones. Bateman is not a fringe anything right now. Okay.
Fringe bum.
You know what I'm saying? He's a fringe bum. Not even trolling. That's what he is. Sometimes he's nice, sometimes he sucks. He's a fringe bum. But as far as those two are concerned, now you got two guys that have had experience being the top guys on the team. Diontae Johnson, he's been a top guy on the team most of his career, multiple teams. Zay Flowers, since entering in the league, he stepped in as an alpha type of receiver. So to have two options like that, and then you talk about Diontae Johnson operates best outside of the hash marks, and that's something that Lamar Jackson typically in his career has not been. He hasn't thrown to that part of the field. So you're just unlocking another part of the field for Lamar. And if you are under the impression that his arm has gotten better and his accuracy has gotten better over the years, and especially this year, if we have a guy that primarily is working in spots that we're not used to exploiting, now we just made ourselves much more versatile. So yeah, as far as whether I like the trade or what my initial thoughts were, I'm very excited because you get a hungry receiver. You also get somebody that's from Florida. Bateman ain't from Florida, okay? So don't talk to me about Nelson Aguilar, because when they sit down and they're on that plane and they talking about how we need to score 35 today because the defense is wilding, he ain't gonna be thinking about things like Bateman. He's gonna be talking to Diontae Johnson about Florida. Diontae Johnson has wicks. Okay, it's about to be you about to see the Florida connection, man, and I'm excited for it. We just got to get him acclimated and up to speed as quickly as possible, so we can prepare for later in the season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love the trade.
Yeah. I mean, and just his reaction, just like he was Diontae, he was relieved when he found out he was going to Baltimore. And I mean, he's saying all the right things. I'm just here to provide what they need me to do right now. So I got to speak on the playbook. He said, being a veteran, it's not going to be hard for him to understand how to get the playbook. It's just terminology. Where everybody say when they get traded, terminology. So it's very exciting, and I think people around the league understand. Even if you're a Diontae Johnson hater, even if you're still a fan, I think people if people around the league understand, if the Ravens can get this defense together, Diontae Johnson just makes them even more of a whatever contender they want to be.
Well, guess what? I'm a big hater. So, hey, I'll never take his route running away from him. I saw 4 or 5 years of him. He is who he is.
He crafty.
He is who y'all say he was. And I was defending him. It's funny how Rose
defend him now.
Yeah, let's go.
But you don't gotta beat him up because he left.
Deontay Johnson's one of the best.
He a product of Kenny Pickett, like Nick said.
No. He played 2 years with Kenny Pickett? It was more years without Kenny Pickett.
He was doing well with Ben.
That was his best year. That 1 year, that was his best year. Other than that,
I mean, that was everybody's best year, Sco. After
you thought Claypool was an all-pro at the time.
Then you saw him with he ain't even in the league no more.
That's why we flipped Claypool for Joey Porter Jr. and that's why we sent his ass to Carolina. You start.
I sent him to the CFL at this point.
Wait a minute. He's not even in the league. I don't even think he's playing. But I just think that some of the bad habits that Diontae has will be masked a little bit. He's going to have a different role with y'all. I think he'll be more down the field. Naturally, with us, he couldn't go downfield because of the quarterback situation. So, you don't have to worry about him running backwards. I don't think that'll rear his ugly head. But I think the drops that you see from Bateman, you'll occasionally see from Diontae. You'll occasionally.
You want to see the sun drop or contested drop?
He ain't open drops. Remember, we benched him in the middle of a Buffalo game. Yo, go sit down.
That was lack of effort, though, right? That wasn't because he was dropping the ball.
Nah, he was wide open, running the crossing route, wide open. Hit him in his
it.
hand. Pow. Thomas said, "Come on, sit with me. Come on."
He ain't want to be there no more though.
That was with Ben.
Like
that
that
was
Bengals
good
play
shit.
where he didn't make the tackle. That effort
Oh, you're
stuff.
pretty good.
Yeah,
Sean
yeah.
don't want
Now,
that.
that's
He's not really a locker room guy, is he, Sko? Like that.
Nah, Minka was about to put hands on. But that's when they knew the writing was on the wall. He wanted to leave. They wanted
He
him to
around
leave.
Florida boys now, man.
Yeah. Well, all right,
I can't compare how he was in the locker room with Kenny Pickett versus
No, don't get me wrong.
Has a chance.
Seeing Kenny will frustrate you. It frustrated everybody. But he was open a lot of the time.
The Eagles and he ain't playing.
I mean, as bad as the Carolina offense is, he was eating down that motherfucker. Like he had putting up.
And the bad habits, it was a couple. I saw a low light tape of Carolina. I said, damn, I ain't still doing that shit there. All right, cool. Take that shit along.
Receptions for 357 yards.
Yeah, man.
I mean, Sko, you pretty good because you used to yell at us.
Nah,
about Diontae.
Yeah, you know why? I acknowledge his drops, but y'all was acting like he always led the league in drops. So I just had to say, all right, he don't lead the league in drops. It's just timely drops. You go into an offense that's always going to be on some timing shit. So it's always going to matter.
Hey, it can't get worse than Nelson Aguilar.
I get that.
And the way I look at it is like, I feel like him and Zay can, as the season progresses and he learns the playbook more, he can excel in the quick game to help a Lamar not have to take so many pressures and take so many opportunities where defenders can hit him. I honestly would prefer to see Zay vertically. I mean, I'm sorry, not Zay. Rashad running vertical routes and getting downfield like he did his second year. I remember always when I think of Bateman, like the good Bateman, I always think of that Jets game in Meadowlands
season opener.
Where he was just consistently getting down the field. And I think what we saw versus the Bucks, the best thing about what he did against the Bucks was he was able to get down the field. I think we got to just get him to stretch. If we can just get him to not be around defenders so he don't have to think about anything, he can just catch a football, maybe that'd be the best thing for him. I don't know, because
I mean, he wasn't around defenders and he dropped to his knees and let it smack him in the He dropped to the knees.
I don't know, bro.
Missed the catch.
He threw it.
Had the nails out on his knees.
Nah.
Like, wait, this is gonna be crazy. This is gonna sound crazy.
Nah, he knew that. Oh my god. Yo, you get one every week.
Every week, dog. Every week.
Damn. And Nick held you down because he kept talking. He kept talking.
I
can't say that, yo. No, you can't say that.
I mean, but that's what happened.
You can't say that. I know y'all want him to be finished, but do y'all think EDC is finished?
Nah, I don't. I think they're going. I mean, like I said, I think they're going to add a defensive piece. It's not going. We know it's not going to move the needle. It's not that. That's not what we're looking for now. We're just looking for at this point. I think the Ravens just look for depth, man, on defense. Just a solid depth player where we can get some rotational guys. That's because something got to change. But you can't just stand pat on defense. You got to add something, some type of rotational, some type of veteran. At least to just make the fans like, all right, we see the problem. We trying to do something about it. Don't stand pat though, and basically, like you said,
double down.
Piss on us and tell us it's raining. Like that. Like this is bad. This is bad.
Yeah, man. It's funny because you get all these trade deadline reports, and have y'all ever noticed that most of the people on the block are like skill players or wide receivers? Like, we're gonna have to get creative as far as a pass rush. I think cornerbacks or safeties. There might be a few names. Tre'Davious White I saw was linked to us in a report recently, so we might be looking to get some secondary help. As far as pass rush, man, we have to get creative. We either have to get a young guy that maybe a team is sleeping on, or maybe they have a lot of depth on their team. The young guy's not really getting a lot of opportunity. Maybe you have to look at a vet that's in an expiring contract, similar to a Diontae Johnson.
They should have got Son Reddick and paid him, dog. They should have got him and paid him because he'll be here for the future. You'll be able to do what you go like. All these other bums not gonna be here in the future. Now you're gonna have that foundational piece locked up. But my fault, I ain't even cut you off.
No, you good. Or you should have signed Clowney to a few more million than what you wanted to have signed him to. Like when somebody plays that good in your system, you want to keep those type of guys in your system. It's mutually beneficial. And yeah, he played well with us and probably exceeded his real contract value. But sometimes you have to pay the market rate to keep the band together. You know, sometimes you have to overpay to make sure that other players are in their right positions and they can be optimal. You know, we had a couple defensive losses, and we see us trying to rely more on the Matabukis, and rightfully so. We're paying him big bucks, but you know, everybody's asked to do a little bit more this season, and they're not doing the a little bit more parts. And going back to Diontae Johnson, something that I wanted to bring up that I forgot to bring up. I look at it as last year's Odell, just 4 years younger and with his knee ligaments intact, right? So we saw the impact of a veteran, high-quality receiver and what that had on the team, the offense, and how that allowed other players to just slot in. You know, Zay was able to slot in as the young, upcoming future face of the team as far as in the wide receiver room. Bateman was able to get in where he fits in. And then Aguilar, we really didn't have to see him unless it was dire or unless Odell just wasn't feeling well. With somebody much younger in his prime, I'm interested to see how somebody can take on that and provide some production there. But that, you know, we already covered that. As far as back to what we were talking about, man, yeah, we're gonna have to bring in somebody else for sure. We can't rest on our laurels with this. And because we got him for free, I feel like we still have 11 draft picks, like EDC, like bro.
Get rid of him.
Yeah.
Like I said, I mean, you made a good point about Tre'Davious White. Like he got to be better than Jamal Davis. He got to be better than some of these backup corners. So why not bring him in? I don't need him to come in and be prime Buffalo Tre'Davious White. I need him to come in and be able to stop a 10-yard out, which I think he can do, and Jamal Davis can't.
And come in and bring in that experience too.
Right.
All right.
And I think you talked about it earlier, Nick, about this defense and like them just own some of the players just owning up. Like when I look at this defense, you got a top 5-10 paid linebacker, top 5-10 paid defensive lineman in Matabuki. Marcus Williams is a top 10 paid safety. Marlon Humphrey's a top 5 paid cornerback. So at every level, you got a top 5 to 10 paid player, and your production level is still subpar. That's a problem.
I want to hear about communication. We got enough leaders on that side of the ball.
It's week 9. Like you said,
Got to lead at every level.
Yeah, whoever made the point, I can hear that after week 1 and 2. I don't want to hear that after week 8. I don't.
Yeah.
All right, so everybody's rolling with y'all against the Broncos, I assume.
What about you, Scott?
Nah, I'm not picking Bo Nix.
Okay.
I'm not. I don't know how last week went with my pick 'em. I'm not dying on the hill of Bo Nix. Will I take a win from Bo Nix? Absolutely. I am not going to gamble on Bo Nix. So
1, 2, 3, let's go.
Let's go to the first commercial break. Nitty Gritty.
When I want some sports news, Nitty Gritty is definitely who I'm tuning into, man. They show up each week with that uncut, that raw, that unfiltered sports news.
They say the things that everyone else wishes that they can say, but they can't.
Every Tuesday and Saturday, I am locked into my favorite sports show, Nitty Gritty.
Nitty Gritty, the best show out right now. Tune in and listen, stupid.